We are live, I believe. I'm showing 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. This is the Public Safety Commission meeting for December the 14th, 2023. And Mr. McVeigh, can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Cross?
Present.
Commissioner M. Mitchell?
Present.
Commissioner Trejo? Vice Chair Lozano? And Chair K. Mitchell.
Present. Okay, thank you very much for that. And Commissioner Cross, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Be happy to.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Cross. Much obliged. So, we are aware that we still have a quorum here. Have we all had the chance to peruse the minutes from the past meeting?
Yes.
We have? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes.
I'll second the motion.
We have to have a first.
Oh,
I move that we approve the minutes from the last meeting of November 9th, 2023.
I second the motion.
Okay, motion. Okay, we have a motion, it has been seconded. Any further discussion? Please vote. So who moves? Go ahead and hit the move. I hit the second, and then we can vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right, very well, thank you. And the agenda, have we had a chance to take a look at that?
Yes.
We have, okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I move that we approve the agenda for tonight's meeting of 12/14/2023.
Actually, gentlemen, we just approved the agenda. This is the minutes.
This is the minutes,
Yes.
okay? All right, we'll do that, we'll approve the minutes then. Well, can we carry the motion to approve the minutes? Okay, okay, so we'll get it, we're waiting for the second.
I'll second the motion.
All right. So we hit the move, we hit the second, and then we vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
Awesome, thank you very much. All right. I don't see anyone present in the gallery, so I don't believe we have to read the admonition for public comments. We don't do the cyberspace thing anymore, do we?
No, we don't have any public comments. It's fine.
Okay, no public comments, so we will skip the admonition for this, and we will go down to the first item on our agenda, which is the Code Compliance Monthly Report.
Good evening, guys. So code compliance for the month of November 2023, we received a total of 154 service requests. We performed 457 inspections. We sent out a total of 139 notices of violation. 87 citations were issued, totaling $150,100. We removed 39 shopping carts from the public right-of-way, and the STV officers performed 19 overnight inspections. Compliance Officer Human had an active case on Avenida Cadena that was opened for high weeds in the front yard of the property. Officer Human issued a notice to the property owner, and the property owner complied with corrective actions. There's photos on the second page, so you can take a look at what the progress was. Compliance Officer Brock had a case on Avenida Cadena as well for unpermitted garage conversion. She located it during a short-term vacation rental inspection. Officer Brock issued a notice of violation, and the property owner obtained a permit to revert the space back to its former condition. Code compliance officers all conducted outreach in coordination with the City of Desert Hot Springs Police Department. Resource handouts for the hub were provided. Additionally, contact was made with multiple business owners to encourage filings of no trespassing orders. Further dispatch will publish a weekly 602 report for the staff referencing moving forward. Compliance Officer Valdez had an active case on Santa Cruz that was open for a dilapidated structure, trash and junk being stored on the property. After several notices, sent to the property owner. The property owner complied with the corrective actions, and Officer Valdez closed the case.
All right, thank you. Questions for the code compliance officer?
No questions.
No questions.
Really well. I'll probably be asking this question with, Deputy Chief Shaw later on. The hub as a resource, I'm impressed with his existence. Has that gone to the public media to inform
Yes.
Desert Hot Springs that it in fact exists?
Yes, it's everywhere. We're making it known everywhere.
Okay, that's good. That's good. And I just, for my own edification, a weekly 602 report, what does that entail? What
It's
is
not
it?
a weekly 602, so a 602 is a no trespassing order that's actually filed through the police department. It's to the property itself, so if there's anybody on the property, then they're trespassing because the property owner has notified us that there's to be nobody on the property, or you can select certain individuals that you don't want to be at the property, so if they're there, they would be trespassed. So we went out to all the businesses and helped them become aware of the 602s. Some of the businesses didn't know. Some of them thought that they still had it, but realized that it expired, because they expire every 6 months. So if they don't refile those, they're going to expire, and if the business owner doesn't come back in, then they no longer have that on file at that property. So we went out and made sure that they all were aware of it, and if they didn't have one, we provided them with all the resources and the paperwork to obtain one.
Okay. Is there a fee that the business owner has to incur in order to file a 602?
No, the 602 is at no cost.
602 is not cost. Okay. All right, very well. The last question was the STVR officers, they are still the private agency that is employed by the city? Or?
No, so the city actually, we contracted, well, they're still a private agency. We contracted through Wildan to pick up 2 actual code officers instead of security officers. We've been running that for probably about 6 months now, where we have 2, they're 2 full-time code officers. They have a little bit more power than the security guards would have.
Okay. And you called it Wildan, was what you called it?
Wildan.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for your report. Appreciate it. Thanks for asking the questions. Good job as always. The next item will be the Animal Control Monthly Report.
Yes, sir. So for the month of November, we have taken in over 94 dogs. 22 of those have gone back to their owners. 8 of those were sent to rescue, and only 7 were adopted. We had 6 go to county, but 3 of those were bite quarantines, and those were financially the owner is responsible for them, not the city. We had 17 that were taken to the vet, 31 DOAs, 0 that passed away in our facility, and 6 that were euthanized due to extreme medical conditions. We licensed 29 animals, cited 7 citizens, and gave 24 warning citations, and we had 190 calls for service. We also had the Animal Action League bus in our parking lot again, and they spayed and neutered 28 animals for the city.
Okay, questions for animal control?
Just one question. Is there a particular reason there's such a sharp increase in DOAs, or is that just an outlier?
There's a lot of strays within the city, and, unfortunately, they're more Palm Drive. They're getting hit on Palm Drive just because of the traffic. So it's hard to alleviate the DOAs.
Thank you.
Okay. Interestingly enough. Speaking of the DOAs, and we're talking about the animals that were unfortunately, met their demise on Palm Drive because of the traffic. I know in my part of the town, I've heard an increase in coyote activity. Has there been any complaints or requests for service or a request for looking out from the residences in the northern tier of our town? And has that perhaps contributed to, the animal population being challenged as they come down from the hills? And
Majority of them stay north of the city. Some of them do come on Palm Drive off of 20th in the desert area.
Okay.
We don't get very many coyotes that people see except on the northern part behind in the desert area. But unfortunately, we are on their land. We built on their land and we can't do anything about the coyote population.
Okay. Is there any recommendation you can make towards the citizens that live in those areas as far as, well, we understand we want them to keep their pets, confined within their property, preferably within their structures.
Yeah, absolutely, but just understand that coyotes can jump a 6-foot wall. So I would highly recommend that you not leave small animals unattended out there by themselves. Always have something to protect yourself and your animal, such as a stick or, make loud noises so that they're more scared of you than you are of them.
Right.
Yeah, so.
All right, good advice. Thank you. Thank you very much for your report. No further questions? Okay. Well, in that case, we'll move ahead to the monthly report from the fire department.
Good evening, Commissioners. So for the month of November, there were a total of 425 responses within the jurisdiction of Desert Hot Springs. Just a brief summary and some of the big ones. There were 37 false alarms, 333 medical emergencies, 15 public service assists, 21 traffic collisions, and let's see, a couple of the rest were random calls within there. Your average response time increased a little bit over the previous month to 5.35 minutes. You had a total of 106 responses that were greater than 5 minutes. As far as your mutual aid, within the city of Desert Hot Springs, Engine 37 ran a total of 323 of the 425 calls. Desert Hot Springs Fire Engine responded outside of the jurisdiction 83 times. However, a fire engine other than a Desert Hot Springs responded into the jurisdiction 286 times. For Engine 36, within the jurisdiction Desert Hot Springs, there were 124 responses. 76 of those were medical emergencies, 26 false alarms, and 9 traffic collisions. That concludes the monthly report. Happy to answer any questions the Commission might have.
Questions for our fire chief?
No questions.
Okay. Let's see. We're still waiting, well, you are giving us the statistics from 36 engine now, correct? You just did.
Yeah, I did. So there is a limitation within the form itself and then within our IT. There was a request prior to me coming over to the city to add Engine 36 to the single report. It is still in process, and I do not have an ETA when those two will be combined. So 36, I have a different, essentially, report that I pull.
Okay, all right. No, I understand engine 37 has auto extrication tools aboard, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Is that also true for engine 36?
There are a total of 2 sets, yes, in Desert Hot Springs.
Okay, all right. And I know we get one response from truck 33. Is that just for a full assignment for a structure response, or was that for another call?
So it doesn't say, and I didn't take the opportunity to look it up prior to the meeting. It wouldn't be for a structure fire. The city is well outside the 12-minute bubble for an automatic response of a truck company. So this was either a call type or a fire of severity that would require it. However, since there are no significant incident reports listed in the automated report here, I'm not exactly sure for the response on that.
I see. Okay. Are there any statistics on mutual aid received from, say, other than Riverside County Fire, Palm Springs, Cathedral City, the cities that may have their own departments that are independent from CAL FIRE?
So that's a complicated one. Certain For Desert Hot Springs, no, because we do not have CAD-to-CAD dispatch where we are tracking each other's information. So for example, like Cathedral City and Palm Springs have their own dispatching centers. And so those statistics would be outside of what we could normally capture or report.
Okay. Right. That'll be mutual aid and, cooperating with other jurisdictions will probably be a topic of interest going forward as we try and, utilize the resources of other cities that are close to us to provide the best possible service. We know you guys are doing a great job and everything with what you have. I fly the flag of regionalization. That was my background in San Mateo County to, use resources across civic boundaries. And in some cases, the closest unit to an emergency was the one that was dispatched to that emergency, regardless of civic boundaries. And that was one of the caveats that we had for implementing our countywide paramedic program. So if there's any areas where we can improve that, or get to the place where we can, perhaps share information and monitor the movement of fire apparatus across jurisdictions. I understand that if we have 36 and 37 out on calls and we break another call, say in the southern leg of our city, the next nearest engine may be, in fact, Palm Springs 3, I think it is, which is their northernmost engine, rather than the Cabazon engine that's, quite a distance away, or even going the other way before, past 56, going towards Station 35. So, again, this is the very preliminary statement that I'm making on the subject. It's something that we can investigate in future conversations, and perhaps meeting through the Regional Public Safety Commission, be able to touch base with all the officials in those cities. But again, cool, great job. We hope that other apparatus is on its way. The paramedic squad, I understand, is under construction.
Oh, actually, I'm glad you brought that up. The paramedic squad was delivered last week. So it came from our facility back east. It is currently going to tool upfitting, so where they're going to install the bracketry so that we can mount the various tools to it.
Mm-hmm.
And we're hopeful to see that thing here in the city relatively quickly.
Excellent. Excellent. And is there any update on the Quint that's under construction?
So I saw a picture of the chassis. So that is rolling through the assembly line. The fire body and the cab and buildup are currently going through fabrication and paint.
Mm-hmm.
So we're still a ways out on that, but it is moving forward.
Good. Very good. Okay. That's all that I have for the fire department. Thank you very much, Chief. Finally, the police department report.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. I'll just give you a high overview of crime stats for the month of November. We saw a downtick in pretty much every category of our crime stats for November. Aggravated assaults were down. Simple assault was up, but only by 1. Burglaries down from this same time last year. Larcenies were down. Motor vehicle theft were down. And then our arrests were up. So both of those categories are going in the right direction. For the activity for the officers, for the month of November, 3,240 radio calls. That's slightly up from the same time month last year. It's 2,841 calls. Arrests were also up with 86 for the month of November. There were 63 in the month of November last year. And citations were up 231 from 144 at the same time last year. So the officers are staying active. There's more calls out there. As we're adding officers on the street, they're doing more proactive work, which is helping. They're answering those radio calls and doing the proactive work, so that's helping quite a bit. Other than that, construction continues at the police department, the tenant improvements at the back of the station. So that's moving along. It's a couple weeks behind, not unusual for construction. We anticipate early to mid-January to be completed with that portion of it. And then I know the public safety campus, the new building, the fire station, the wall around that entire campus, I believe that goes out to bid on the 20th of this month. So that's moving forward also. We're hoping for a groundbreaking construction date of around April. And then we're looking about a 12-month construction timeline to get that completed. So, but that's moving forward also. So, other than that, last Saturday, the city had its holiday parade. If you had a chance to make it down here every year, that seems to get bigger and bigger. It was a great event. No major events at all on the police department side. Everybody had a great time, and it went off well. So that completes my report.
Questions for our police chief?
Yes, I have one. First, it was nice seeing you all at the parade. Me and Commissioner Martin Mitchell were judging. And so I understand we're increasing patrols and DUI checkpoints given the holidays. That got me thinking there's going to be a lot of significant construction coming up. Are there any plans to increase patrols around construction areas on like main roadways?
The officers are always looking at the construction zones, but nothing specific. Most of our holiday enforcement that deals with DUIs, whether it's a saturation patrol, DUI checkpoint, a traffic enforcement detail, either targeting mostly moving violations or pedestrian and bicycle type violations. So a lot of that is funded by a grant that we get through the Office of Traffic Safety. But we do have, in fact, this Friday, there's a DUI checkpoint that'll be taking place tomorrow. I know we have another checkpoint in January. We just had a saturation patrol, DUI saturation patrol this week also. So yeah, long answer is the construction stuff, it's nothing specific, but officers are always monitoring those areas because we do have some construction and some road work that's going on. The officers try and monitor for traffic violations and to keep traffic going.
All right, thank you. That's good to hear.
Yeah, I'm glad to see that our, crime statistics are lower or have remained constant, because a lot of times people view DHS in a very negative way, where we do have some of the lowest crime in the valley, and no one understands that, or they're still remembering 15, 20 years ago when the opposite was true. Speaking of traffic, I'm still concerned about Pearson because of the increased traffic on Pearson and, people using the shoulder as a pass-through lane. It's just an accident waiting to happen. I know you can't be every place everywhere at the same time, but I am also happy to see the added patrols on on Palm in the morning. When I drive down there, I do see a lot of stops because people do drive down, Palm as if it's just a 10. They're just speeding, and I'm glad also to hear that they're putting a traffic light at Palm and 20th as well, to slow down some of that traffic or to have a stop there. So, and yes, the parade was great, and the officers they did great work on Saturday. There was one little incident, but they were right on top of it. So it was a very fun, family-oriented event. So thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Did Chief Henson do his horse exhibit this year?
Not this year. No horses.
No
horses.
No horses, huh?
No.
And that was memorable when I judged, and he was leading down there and was, quite impressively dressed in his. Is that a 5-gallon? It's not quite a 10-gallon hat. Maybe it's a 5-gallon hat, and he was doing his equestrian bit. It was always fun. He actually looked like he was having a little bit of fun himself, so that was good. I'm glad a good time was held by all. Unfortunately, I had to miss it this year, but I look forward to the next one. Let's see. Your staffing, how are we with that as we stand?
Yeah, we're doing good. We're still looking for some folks. We had one small setback. I think I've mentioned before, we have we had planned for 2 folks to go into the January Academy. Mm-hmm. We unfortunately they're both current community service officers with us. Unfortunately, one took a different job route. Worked out better for him and his family, so certainly can't fault him for that, but that that left an opening there. So we have one that's planned for the January academy. That's coming up too quick for us to be able to coordinate to get somebody into that academy. But we have one for January, one still for October, and the applications have been coming in. We have a lot of applications. We probably had about 80 applicants between October and November. Some of those are folks that already have a basic post certificate, and some would be new folks looking to be put through an academy. The big part of that is because of the recruiting firm that we have working with us still, so we're getting a lot of applicants come in, so we were able to actually take those applicants, and we took about the top 10% of those, and we're processing those through. So we're looking good. We're just a couple, probably 3 down in terms of personnel-wise for sworn officers, and I anticipate us within 2024 filling those slots.
Excellent. And, pursuant to that, are we staffing our motor officers?
We are. So we had an officer, he just completed the motorcycle academy. We actually just picked up a bike that was being repaired and a new bike. We picked him up yesterday. He's actually slated to start in the field on the motor on January the 8th.
Great. And, I do recall, I don't know if it's time for the budget to be ratified. I might be premature on that. We last looked at the police department budget. It was for 2022, 2023. And I'm not sure whether that was a fiscal 2022, 2023 or calendar 2022, 2023.
Yeah, we're probably, after the holidays, it'll be mid-year budget. They'll be looking at, finance will be looking at, we'll be looking at that. So right now, we're in the 23-24 budget cycle. We are, about halfway through? And let's see, so for the police department, we're at about 40% of our budget, and animal control's at 36. So we're right in line with where we anticipated to be at the mid-mark of the first year of this budget cycle. So again, after the holidays, then they'll start doing the mid-year budget review.
Okay. All right, great. Okay. Any further questions for law enforcement? All right. Thank you, Chief. Always. Boy, Jim Henson and that horses. I missed it. Gosh. Fine. That brings us to the commissioner reports part of the agenda. Anybody who wishes to go first?
The only thing I have is I would like us to, at the January meeting, start talking about the emergency preparedness and formalizing exactly what we want to do and how we want to approach it for the city, whether we want to have a fair or break it down into quadrants and have different events for different parts of the city. So I think now that we had the presentation last month, I think now it's contingent on us to act on it and start moving forward with our proposals on it.
I would agree with that. There's probably going to be another presentation forthcoming, but I'll elucidate on that when I get to my report. But I agree. I think we should. I remember that there were specific questions that were asked by, I think it was Councilmember Betts. He wanted to know some specifics, equipment caches, training capabilities, and things. So yeah, let's definitely get some concrete information on that and divest it to not only our staff here, but to the general public.
All right, yeah, that is something that Councilmember Betts has spoken to us a lot about and is very interested in. Given attendance, I don't think this is a time for significant action, but I would agree for the next meeting, I definitely want to focus on emergency preparedness, and then also doing more community outreach in hopes of maybe getting more people involved with the commission or attending.
Well, I'll echo that. I'll second that. I'd like to see a little bit more attendance than we have. I know the timing is an issue. We have and just anecdotally, you just watch when people go to work, it almost appears that 1/3 of the city leaves and is gone from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Sometimes it's difficult for people to make the meetings here. We did talk about an off-site meeting. If we were to take the meeting off-site, there are certain obligations that we would have to fulfill. We have to have the voting capability, we'd have to have the televising capability. I think I mentioned it in previous meetings, that the one facility that's possible to use would be the rec center. Just because, we just had the state of the city over there, and that's recorded and televised, and the elected officials were there. But take it under advisement that it would be nice to do something to increase public participation. And I remember Commissioner Trejo specifically mentioned that he would talk to people in passing, and they didn't even know we existed. They couldn't differ. They thought we were city council members. Anybody that sits on the dais is a city council member, and what our function is. Our function is pretty well spelled out in the Muni Code of what we're supposed to be able to do. So once letting people know what we're doing and why we're here, I would think would be important going forward, and we can definitely enlist the assistance of the city council in that. So, thank you.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. I've had a few people think I'm on the planning commission. But yeah, definitely moving forward. Or we can always do community forums, or just us individually could always meet with different people in neighborhoods. I think that would probably be a good route too, moving forward, is we could keep the meeting as is, but still go out and meet with people from the community or community leaders when we can.
Definitely. And I think my left-hand commissioner, Commissioner Martin Mitchell, was always mentioned the HOAs. And probably the majority of residents in Desert Hot Springs don't belong to HOAs, but that's a starting point. I belong to a loose confederation of citizens where I live as well, so they're aware of my participation. So, again, I agree with you, and let's go ahead and bring that to fruition. So I guess I will close with my report. I am aware of a couple of things. I remotely attended the Regional Public Safety Committee that was held on November 13th of 2023. And in keeping with the conversations we've been having, disaster preparedness was again on the tip of their tongue as well. The Riverside Emergency Management District gave a presentation on the hazard mitigations plan. I was able to take a look at that document, and if anybody has ever read Leo Tolstoy's War and Peace and wants to challenge their reading endurance, they're welcome to take a look at that document. 556 pages is what my computer told me how long it was. The presentation itself didn't take that long, but it outlined the resources that are available at the county level, again, for hazard mitigation, disaster preparedness, and it actually broke it down city by city with a little blurb on the history of each city. So I'm probably going to be knocking on the door of the program supervisor, Eric Cadden, who gave that presentation, and see if we can't have a sequel to the Disaster Preparedness Network and have them do a presentation to us as well. All right? And also in that meeting, there was, more comments on the tropical storm that we had. The history-making rainfall that we received, which was, actually it was a little bit less than the Valentine's Day storm of 2018, 2019. But it's just by a little bit, But having a named storm come through and affecting us that way, this is going to be talked about for some time to come. Perhaps Chief Shaw knows, if he's heard from Public Works, on the scheduling of the opening of the roads that we still have closed around town.
Yeah, that's moving forward. I anticipate all those roads. I think there's still 3 or 4 March or April to be done. They're looking at, I just heard this week, Little Morongo possibly be finished early to mid-January. And so it sounds like that'll be the first one. But they're moving forward, the funding's in place, and they're getting going on their work. So a few more months and we'll be through that part of it.
Oh, yeah. It's been quite a while and quite an adventure. So, in addition, one more last touching on disaster preparedness, there is a CERT program that is offering training in January. The classes are in Indio, so it's a little bit of a distance for us to attend that training. I'm particularly interested in the Train the Trainer course. It's something that I'd like to get involved with. I think it's January, I want to say 26th through the 28th or the 24th. I'll get back to you on the exact dates. It's upcoming. It's a great program, and of course, there are people that are instructed to be CERT members and actually perform the tasks when they're required. There has to be a certain amount of physical ability. So it's probably not recommended to everybody to go take the class if they're not up to crawling, standing, stooping, carrying ladders. You know, the hanging up Christmas lights is a good prerequisite. If you can hang Christmas lights, you can participate. If you can't, maybe you don't want to get involved in that. But CERT training is coming up. It's the city of Indio. And the CERT training, for more information, it's cvdpn.org. That is the Disaster Preparedness Network. And the CVAG, cvag.org, is the preceding information that I gave out. Their next Public Safety Regional meeting is on January the 8th, which is just prior to our next meeting. And that's all that I have at this point. So, we burned through that pretty quickly.
I wonder if there's any way we can get out the information about the CERT training to, some of our citizens who may want to take it, because that would be part of the overall disaster preparedness. And if we have some people trained, then it would help us greatly.
At one time, it was listed that Chief Henson was heading it up. And then there was, what was on my hair? There was a gentleman's name, Tom Pettinger. I don't know if that name rings a bell or.
Well, Tom still works for us. He's our support service manager.
Okay.
And I know the chief is still involved in it. And if there's a flyer or anything like that, you can certainly get that to us. We can put it out on our social media on the city website and get that information out, though.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully, if we can get a train the trainer course and get some people here trained to teach those courses, we can be a little bit more autonomous and establish a cadre of individuals to be dependent on here in Desert Hot Springs. So, in the meantime, we have the website information, and we'll be I'm on their mailing list, and we'll be in contact with those folks to try and get more folks here in the city trained. Very well. It is 6:37, I believe, on the computer. Is there anything else for the good of the order?
I think we're all good.
All right. Well, as always, we appreciate the representatives of the services that are keeping us safe, are keeping our animals in control, making sure the municipal code is, enforced and obeyed. We thank all of you. Our next scheduled meeting here, I believe, is January the 11th, which would be the second Thursday of January of the new year. If they're to view a recording of this meeting and all meetings of both the Public Safety and Planning Commissions as well as City Council dating back to 2009, please feel free to visit our website, cityofdhs.org. I would like to wish everybody in attendance and who may be watching, whatever holidays you choose to celebrate, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, a safe and prosperous 2024. We want to have you all come back here. In the words of my former hazmat instructor, we'd rather talk to you than talk about you. All right, if there's nothing else, we stand adjourned. Thank you all and good night.